Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video, and welcome finally to the return of F1 Championship Edition. Yes, it's been nearly a year since I last played this game, but we are finally returning with technically Season 5 or Season 4 of our career mode on this title. Now, first of all, before I forget, if you're watching this on my main channel, from now on, F1 Championship Edition will be going live on Matt212 Gameplay, so there'll be a link down in the description below. Obviously, we're going to be doing all of the series over there now. We're just a bit busy with the F1 1998 to 2007 career mode, and obviously our driver career mode as well. So yeah, all videos, including this one and future uploads, will be going live over there. Now, obviously, for those of you that never seen F1 Championship Edition before, it is quite possibly the greatest and most brutal F1 game ever. There is no room for error inside this title. And I've got to play it on a PS3 controller, which, for those of you that obviously watch my content, know I normally use a trusty steering wheel. There's a few other weird limitations with this game. Now, obviously, for those of you that watch the old series, you'll know that I was playing it on medium difficulty, and then I was going to move up to hard difficulty. You can't just do that. You have to completely reset your save if you want to try and play on a harder difficulty setting. So if I head back out to the main menu, and we will load back in once again. We've had to basically reset everything now inside this game. So obviously those great title fights between Michael Schumacher and Fernando Alonso have obviously kind of been swept away into the abyss, really, as much as anything else. But yeah, as you can see, we are now on the hard difficulty inside this game. Apart from that, all of the other rules I've left the same as the old series. So 30% Grand Prix, fuel and tyre wear is the same. Obviously, it works as it would in a real Grand Prix. No rolling starts, obviously, formation lap, things like that, all included inside this game, and the podium celebrations as well. So it's kind of a continuation of the old series we did, but also, yeah, its own series as well inside this game. Now, for those of you that actually played F1 Championship Edition back in the day and tried to play it on the hard difficulty, it is, I believe, actually impossible to just get a seat in the first season, obviously for the start of the campaign. So I did a stream a few weeks ago. It took me 7 hours between that stream and playing it offline as well. But we did finally get an offer from Super Aguri, ready for the final 6 races of this first season. So technically round 1 is actually here in Magyar Nagadic for the Hungarian Grand Prix, which is a little bit peculiar. So hopefully that's going to kind of be all of the admin bits out of the way. There was a lot of kind of nuance and stuff to go through before we get back into the campaign. Taking a quick look though at the Drivers' World Championship, it's ridiculous. Schumacher, Fisichella, Massa and Alonso, 4 drivers in for the world title. They're covered by 4 points after the opening 12 Grand Prix. I've never had a campaign like it. Kimi Räikkönen is not a million miles away either in P5 in his McLaren, so you could make the argument that it is a 5-way title fight. Of course, only 10 points available though for the win, so things I'm sure will change as we get towards the end of the season as well. But yeah, finally, F1 Championship Edition is back. I'm looking forward to it, and of course I really, really want to win the world title, because once we've won the world title on this game, I'm going to be going to F1 2010, trying to win a world title there, 2011, and so on and so on. So this, yeah, is really the start of a bigger series as well, which I hope you guys are going to enjoy. But yeah, let's head then here to the Hungaroring. Well, if this is your first ever time seeing F1 Championship Edition in the flesh, welcome on in. Of course, I've got nearly, I think, close to 60 videos already on this game, back obviously in the old career mode we did, so yeah, if you want to just binge watch those as well, you're more than welcome to. I will try to kind of explain a few of the things in this game, but obviously, yeah, that first kind of career mode we did was more about learning all of, you know, kind of the nuance and everything else to this title. The big things you need to know though, obviously this was the first year of the V8 engine cars, apart from the Toro Rosso, which still had a V10. That is also implemented inside this game. Traction control, ABS, they were all things as well. So, you know, luckily it's not that impossible on a controller. Auto spin curbs, though, were absolutely brutal on this game. Now, luckily for us, Hungary is actually one of the better circuits for it. So hopefully we can... I mean, we scored our first ever points in our old series around this track. But on the hard difficulty, yeah, I've really got no idea how we're going to fare throughout the final few rounds of the season. But yeah, Super Aguri, it was one of, well, I think it is the worst car inside this game as well. It's basically a battle between us and Midland at the rear of the field. But yeah, Super Aguri was effectively Honda's B team. So in the same way that you've got Red Bull and V-Carb in 2024, it was basically Honda and Super Aguri back in the early 2000s. I think between 2000 and, I think it was 2006, wasn't it? And then 2008, when unfortunately Super Aguri would be shut down as well. Now, there's no rewinds either on this game, no rewinds and no restarts. So if you have a crash, which is quite common with those auto spin curbs, and the fact the AI are incredibly aggressive as well, there's nothing you can do. Your weekend is just over. So yeah, we have got to be very, very careful. Now, the last time I played through this game, I probably got a little bit too angry too often, and that's what ended up causing us so many issues. So there's an example of what the AI are like. I'm planning on this time round trying to be a bit calmer, a bit, you know, kind of less aggressive, especially in this first season where we're just going to be learning the ropes in these final 6 Grand Prix, because if we do well, then hopefully we'll keep our seat, or maybe even get an offer from a bigger team. But either way, it does take a lot of time to, you know, before a big team is interested in signing you.
Slightly more than 4.3 kilometres of twisting Hungarian racetrack lie here in almost complete silence at the moment. However, all that is about to change as Saturday qualifying at the Hungaroring gets underway.
Well, heading out then into qualifying, of course, there were 22 cars on the grid back in 2006. So, yeah, 6 drivers will be knocked out in Q1 and Q2. Like I mentioned, Hungary, actually, they're one of the AI's weaker circuits on the calendar. So it is going to be interesting to see how we get on here. Like I said, this was where we scored our first ever points in the last series we did on this game, I believe, in this very car as well. So I'd love to try and get... Oh, no, I think we were in Midland, weren't we, for the first season on last year's game? As, yeah, the BMW Saubers, especially Jacques Villeneuve, I've had a lot of beef with in the past. So, yeah, we have got to... I mean, we just want to try and find our own real estate here. As what on earth is Heidfeld, I believe that is, doing? Come on, man, just move out of the way. That's taken us less than a minute into qualifying before the AI are already annoying me. But as we get ready then to start our first lap here in qualifying, am I going to live to regret playing this game once more? Like I said, the plan is a bigger series in which we try and win a World Championship on every single F1 game from Championship Edition onwards. So, yeah, next up would be F1 2010. Sadly, I'm not going to be playing the Wii. Just a little bit too kind of difficult to set up, I'm afraid. But you just see there, oh, again, Heidfeld trying to get in the way. So we'll follow him round, as we've got one of the Ferraris as well now. Having a look how much faster that Ferrari is as he tries to have a look around the outside. I believe that is Michael Schumacher. So yeah, we've just got to be really careful. One of the other really cool things about this game is the fact you had live commentary as the session was going on. So as other drivers finished off their laps, James Allen, I believe it was, is just talking you through various bits and pieces. We've got oil down somewhere. That you have to be really careful with on this game, because if you hit an oil slick, it will absolutely ruin your day. Many incidents before, it is impossible. If you hit them, you are completely... I mean, it normally just spins you out and you're gone. Like, you just have to avoid them like the plague on this game. But as we round our way then through the final corner...
He's done enough on this occasion.
David Coulthard down onto a 1:18.0. We are only going to do a 21.0. 3 seconds away, but I know there's more pace in the car. No idea what this Toyota's doing. Trying to get in the way through the final couple of corners. Are we going to see an improvement there? We're still currently in P16 on the board. No, we don't. So yeah, I mean, we're not in the drop zone yet, but as we run out of fuel, we are definitely going to lose places. Oh, heading back out towards the end of the session then. We're a little way up as we make our way into Sector 3. I mean, we're already a second down on our teammate Takuma Sato, though, so we need to try and get the better of him by the end of this qualifying. One of the other fun little weird things about F1 Championship Edition, that qualifying clock, when it reaches 0, the session just ends. You don't get a chance to improve or finish your lap or anything. As soon as it strikes 0, the session is just finished. So you have got to try and get out there a little bit earlier than a lot of you would expect us to. We did find a good chunk of time, though, through that final sector on the last lap. I believe Takuma's done like a 19.9, but we would need another 1.5 seconds if we want to make it to Q2. Oh, there we go, another half second up into Sector 3, but there's oil down again on the circuit. Can we try and find a way around it? Whereabouts is it? On the line, there it is. So luckily we'll get around it that time round, but this might be our last big improvement of the session. Haven't got enough fuel to get back in and come back out once more. Will we at least break into the 1 minute 19s? Yes, we will. A 19.995 there. I'm going to try and see if we can do any more improvement. But yeah, I think, unfortunately, it's still P20. But I think that's going to be all we can really do. There we are then, the end of Q1. And unfortunately for us, Thiago Monteiro did go faster right at the very end. There was about another 3-4 tenths, I think, on that lap. So we could have been comfortably in P19. But we don't end up last in our first ever qualifying session in Formula 1. So as we head into the Grand Prix, hopefully, we can just try and see the checkered flag.
Welcome to the Hungaroring in Budapest for this year's Hungarian Grand Prix. In 1986, the Hungarian Grand Prix made history when it was the first F1 race to be run behind the Iron Curtain. Characterised by its dusty and slippery surface, the Hungaroring has the tightest layout on the Formula 1 calendar, that is apart from Monaco. Overtaking here is very difficult, so a good qualification is absolutely crucial. Pretty much perfect weather conditions for racing here today, so we should see some very competitive lap times during this race. Lining up on pole is Fernando Alonso. Second on the grid is Michael Schumacher. Jenson Button goes from third. Jarno Trulli lines up fourth. Montoya takes fifth. Felipe Massa takes sixth. Ralf Schumacher is seventh. Rubens Barrichello completes row 4.
Well, you really do just get thrown into the grid procedure here. Luckily, we have got a formation lap to get ourselves up to speed. But yeah, you also, it's really, really important on this game that you build up temperature in your tyres. So you can see at the bottom left-hand side of your screen, all 4 tyres right now are ice cold. So you've got to turn the traction control down and the ABS down and do everything in your power to build up as much tyre temperature as you can on this formation lap. I promise you, it makes a huge difference on this game. The fact that it was in this game is just staggering as well. Let's not forget, this game is almost 20 years old, and it had all these kind of features that modern F1 games like Codemasters didn't have until 2016, 2017. It took coders an extra 10 years to add the features that this game had. So the autopilot in the game will take over at some point around these final few corners. So yeah, obviously what also happens is whilst you're sat on the grid, you lose tyre temperature as well. So all of those things are included on this title. Sadly, I can't line myself up on the grid. That would be very, very cool. As you can see, I've lost control now. But like I said, 21 laps here. We just want to get to the finish of our first ever F1 race in this series. I need to make sure I enable the traction control once again. Off to a fairly... What on earth is that?
Great start, as does Michael Schumacher.
I mean, we'll try and... What's that BMW doing? He's just pulling me along.
First corner, and behind him is Michael Schumacher. Next is Button.
Well, we've certainly had a better start than I was expecting there. Up 5 places by the time we got into turn 1. But yeah, Jacques Villeneuve, I said we used to have beef with him. That rivalry looks set to continue there as he saw us pull alongside him and immediately just tried to turn across me. So, not too sure what we make of that one. Luckily, we have got a bit of breathing room as well just in front. But yeah, the car will be a bit more slidey through these opening couple of laps there. As we try and build up some temperature and of course on the heavy fuel. So Villeneuve wanted to try and have a look down our inside at the chicane. Red Bull as well. For newer F1 fans that didn't know, back in 2006, Red Bull were not a good team. Obviously only in their second year in the sport. So they were kind of one of the teams just above the back markers. But anyways, we round our way in towards those final couple of turns. Just trying to be so careful of a rogue Jacques Villeneuve. But I think we've survived lap 1.
The field looks like this. Alonso leads. Michael Schumacher is in second. Button is third. Fourth is Trulli. Montoya fifth. Next is Ralf Schumacher. He's up from 7th. Massa is 7th. He's lost a place from his starting position. And Raikkonen is 8th.
I love those grid run names. They're so cool. Admittedly, it feels like they do them a bit too often inside this game as the race goes on, but it really does give you a better idea as kind of what's happened to everybody else. And yeah, our engineer is actually Fernando Alonso's real engineer from 2006. Of course, it was Fernando that took the world title in this campaign IRL, but certainly this season is looking incredibly close. Well, we're setting decent and consistent lap times early on in this race. We're not losing much time at all to Christian Klein just in front. Definitely get the impression, though, that Jacques Villeneuve is not happy being stuck behind us, as our teammate, Sato, dropped down to the rear of the field early on. So like I said, if we can just try and beat him in these last few races of the year, at the very least, I want to make sure that we keep our seat with Super Aguri ready for next season. Well, like I said, my plan is just to try and hold up Villeneuve and Luizzi as best as we can. Luckily, I mean, our rivals this year are, of course, our teammate and those 2 Midland cars, so if we can just be ahead of them, looks like we are opening up that gap more and more. A few other interesting things, I guess. Formula 1, for whatever reason, they used to always count the laps down. So 16 out of 21, we're not on lap 16 already. We've got 16 laps to go of the GP, but yeah, I think the HUD on this game as well looks really, really cool. I love the old school 2000s kind of rev counter and speedometer and everything else. So yeah, it's quite a nostalgic game for me. This was obviously about the time I got into Formula 1 in the first place. I did not play this game though. For me, it was actually F1 2005 on the PS2 that was the first like F1 game that I played lots. Well, we are setting decent lap times there. We're pretty consistently in the 1:20 20s, so I'm happy so far with our pace at the moment, and also the rhythm we've kind of got ourselves in. Yeah, I mean, the hard difficulty, it is going to be interesting, obviously, as we hopefully get offers from better teams down the line as to just what we're going to be able to do with that. It's Jacques Villeneuve there again, trying to have a look for a move when it certainly wasn't on. If it was anybody else other than Jacques Villeneuve, I'd probably let them by at this point. But I want to beat the BMW Sauber man. Maybe we can have his seat. We're starting just to see a few cars peeling into the pit lane then. I'm staggered that this hasn't been a race more of attrition so far. But we'll claim 1 spot over David Coulthard.
Consider pushing forward.
I'm doing everything I can currently, engineer. Let's not forget I'm in probably the worst car on the grid, so leave me alone, I know what to do.
At the halfway mark, Michael Schumacher leads. Next is Ralf Schumacher. He's up from 4th. Button is 3rd. Montoya 4th. He's slipped from 3rd. Felipe Massa is 5th. Raikkonen 6th. Fisichella 7th. And Barrichello is in 8th.
Well, unlike modern Formula 1 then, the undercut isn't so overpowerful in this game, because obviously back in 2006 you could refuel the car.
And it looks like rain might be on the way. Fortunately, it looks like it's still a fair way off, and we should be finished here before it hits.
Rain is quite possibly the worst thing that can happen inside this game, so I'm hoping we get as few wet races as we can. Simply the AI just so OP in the wet weather, so we're going to try and avoid that hopefully this afternoon. But yeah, like I was saying, because there was refueling back in 2006, the longer you stay out there, of course, you're on less fuel, so the undercut isn't just guaranteed. There's Team Norris in at the end of next lap, so Villeneuve might not jump us. Well, we are slowly moving past a few more cars, as there we go. Almost into the points now, actually, up into P12, of course. It is only the top 8 that score back in 2006. And now, that little garage with a green flashing LED marks that it's this lap that we need to dive into the pit lane. So we have gone more than half distance. I'm a little bit worried we're going to get lapped by the end of this race, to be honest. But that was also not uncommon for Super Aguri. Well, even pit stops in this game aren't particularly simple. Not only have you got to obviously make sure you come in nice and tidily, but pit stops, yeah, their own little mini game as well on this game.
Leads. He's up from third. Michael Schumacher is in second. Button is third. That's a gain of 1 place. Montoya fourth. Fisichella fifth. He slid down from second. Trulli sixth. Next is Ralf Schumacher. And Massa is eighth.
Well, this is not going to be a good example of a pit stop because I cannot remember what all the buttons are. We go like that, and then like that, and like that, and then I believe we go like that, and then that, and then that. Actually, this one's not looking too bad so far. 9.5 seconds. Anything under about 9, you usually classify as okay. As there we go, Villeneuve's got the jump on me. So has Antonio Luizzi.
Wait till the green and you have optimum traction.
So a little bit gutted there that we have been undercut, but it looks like someone's out of the GP. I think that might be a Williams that's gone. There's Scott Speed as well, trying to capitalise. Luckily, we will have fresher tyres to the end of the race. Hopefully that'll help us out, and maybe we can try and re-jump Luizzi by the end. But yeah, races, normally you get at least kind of 2 or 3 cars that would tend to retire from each event. Really trying to push on towards the end of this GP, but we seem to be under more and more pressure from Scott Speed. And the Antonio Luizzi just seems to be breaking free a little bit more as well there. Of course, a little bit of fun trivia for you. The 2006 Hungarian Grand Prix was Jenson Button's first ever win in what was a utterly insane race. It's that iconic line that I'm sure many of you have heard of from James Allen when he comes through the final corner. Jenson Button, he's done it! Absolutely brilliant commentary. Go back and watch race highlights if you've never seen that race before. So there we go. Team now just starting to count down the laps towards the end of the afternoon. I ideally don't want to get lapped by Alonso by the end of this. As... oh no, that's not Scott Speed. I thought you made an error. Oh no! No, 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 no. Oh, that's a really stupid error. Late on. Damn it. First mistake I've made all weekend, really. There you go, just a little bit of a blunder, then nudge the wheel on the grass on the way down in towards turn 2, and well, Scott Speed will say thank you very much. Can we try and catch back up to him? That is so frustrating. I really was starting to believe that we'd make it through this first weekend without any major problems. Well, 3 laps to go, then we are still pushing late on in the day. I don't want to let Scott Speed have it easy towards the end of the afternoon. Even if I can't find a way back past him, I'm going to keep trying to attacking him towards the end. And even after that error, you know, you don't want to play it too safe. You still want to try and push to make sure you can get the best result possible. Hopefully Super Aguri are watching this and are still quite impressed. There we go, finally getting another lap in the 119s. We've gone quicker than we've done in qualifying.
Second is Schumacher.
Fernando Alonso is on his final lap. Looks like he can take the win.
Well, are we going to remain on the lead lap towards the end of this GP? I think we should just about be safe from Fernando behind.
Looks like this. Alonso leads. Michael Schumacher is in second. Button is third. Montoya fourth. Trulli fifth. Next is Ralf Schumacher. Massa is seventh. And Fisichella eighth.
Oh, we're still just trying to push on late on in the day. Oh, that's not the line I wanted. I think that'll be a slowdown. Yep, there you go. I was wondering whether we get one of those today or not. A 6-second slowdown penalty where basically you just cannot accelerate off the exit of a corner. I think this will allow Alonso to get the run on me. And as much as I'd love to try and stay on the lead lap, I don't think it'll make much difference. Apart from maybe just psychologically, the fact that we've lapped... oh, no! Don't throw it away, please. Come on, get going again. We're going to lose the place to Christian Albers, perhaps. No, we'll just defend from him. And right at the very end there, we almost bottled it through the final couple of corners. Contact with race leader Alonso. He will not be happy.
There it is. Alonso crosses the line in first place and earns a well-deserved 10 points. Michael Schumacher will take second place. That's the 13th race of the season completed. Unlucky for some? Possibly. But it's provided an interesting spectacle once again. We take a longer break now, so teams and drivers can spend a little time with family and friends before we enter the final part of the season. Next stop is Turkey, at the latest Herman Tilke circuit, just outside Istanbul. with its notorious turn 8 ready to bite at anyone who's not concentrating fully. I can't wait for the action to start there. Join us in 3 weeks' time, where East meets West, for another thrilling chapter in the F1 calendar. Goodbye for now.
Well, I had completely forgot that Turkey's late on in this season, so we get to enjoy Istanbul Park next time out there. But from 21st on the grid to come through for P18 in the end, I don't think we can be too upset about there. A little bit gutted that I made a few too many mistakes right towards the end of the GP, but that was really, really good fun. Taking a look at our championship standings, Alonso now up at a P2, 2 points back behind Michael Schumacher, with Fisichella and Massa still trying to cling on to their championship hopes. Raikkonen ahead of Montoya, and then Button, I believe that was ahead of Trulli. Both Red Bulls are still yet to score a point this year, as well as Heidfeld and all your backmarker cars as well. So hopefully we're going to move kind of to the top of your backmarker group by the end of the campaign. Maybe we can score a point. Constructors wise though, Ferrari 2 ahead of Renault as well. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 heads to the Turkish Grand Prix.